I'm Rebecca Martinez from Arts California, and we are here today to speak with Mr. David Reed, who is the Executive Director of Yuba-Sutter Arts. And I have just had a brief look at the yubasutterarts.org website, and it's very lovely, very impressive. You must be very proud of it.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you. We are. We're like so many organizations. We reinvented ourselves last year, and we're busier than ever. So,
Great, great.
keeping art and culture alive in our two rural, underserved communities here of Yuba and Sutter counties, just north of Sacramento. So,
Yes, it's good to get a location on that. And I noticed on the website you have quite a few programs that seem to be active and thriving. Did you want to talk about any of them?
sure, we sort of speak in terms of our kind of our art and culture portfolios, if you will. One of several is our arts and education portfolio. We've just completed this year's round of judging and awards for the Scholastic Art and Writing program, a national program that we support. And that's the one program where we go beyond our typical two county service area as an affiliate of the California Arts Council. We actually are the regional affiliate for Scholastic for 7 counties adjoining Yuba and Sutter counties. So it's a
Okay.
pretty big program. And in spite of the pandemic, we had more submissions this year than ever in the last 3 years that we've been doing this program locally. So big part of our arts and education program. We also just completed Poetry Out Loud, another nationally
Mhm.
adjudicated program, and we cover both counties. So we have a county champion for Yuba and Sutter that we then send off to the state finals, and we're still hoping for a national finalist one of these years. But we've had
Uh-huh.
some great student recitations over the years that have made it into at least the top 10 statewide. So we're proud of that.
Great.
Um, we had grants to take students on field trips last year that got suspended. We did take one group from Yuba City High School down to Los Angeles to the both Getty museums. So
Mhm.
we got that in January, just before we got shut down. But what we've been doing is virtual field trips where it's not just a canned video tour of a museum, but we literally are able to, like the Crocker, for example,
Uh-huh.
have had docent led conversations where they zoom into a classroom, speak about some aspect of the collection, obviously not everything about everything, but it's been wildly successful with both the students and the arts educators that we work with. So another example of kind of reinventing ourselves and still being able to deliver art and culture services to our community.
Excellent.
Are are any of those Zoom presentations available for people to look at on your website?
I'd have to check. We haven't captured any of those because of issues dealing with
Yeah,
minors.
that's
Oh,
true.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only issue. We
That's
might
I
have a
hadn't thought
snip.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only concern with young folks. That's a lot of a lot of releases to obtain. So, but certainly could talk to any of the educators about that experience. And Mallory Marsh is the arts and education lead at the Crocker that we've been working with. So they've been a great partner. We've got a big veterans in the arts program too. Excuse me. Also state funded typically, although we're getting money now from different sources. We work with a group called Vet Art in San Diego. Steve Dilly, excuse me, who we first met a few years ago when he came to the community. We were introduced by Glenn Husted, who's the head of the art department at Yuba College, and they're old ceramics and sculpture friends. And Steve had a project going where he was doing bronze face casting of veterans, specifically faces, also hands. But how often do you get to play with bronze? I mean, it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
wow. I mean, and and so my golly, in a couple of workshops, 2 different weekends, he came in with a team from San Diego, and the veterans helped each other do the molding. I'm doing using my hands here. The
Hmm.
multi-layered process. You all may know about bronze. It was all new to me, but to get the it's lost wax casting technique. So
Right.
and getting those different layers and then brushing in the wax. And then they took those molds back to San Diego to their foundry, I think actually in Fallbrook. A couple of the veterans were able to go down and actually participate in pouring hot bronze. And then they came back with the finished busts of the veterans, and we had a spectacular art gallery show around those pieces. So
That
Yeah, it
sounds
sounds very exciting.
amazing. It
Yeah.
sounds really
yeah,
amazing.
take a look at vetart.org, and then we're partnering with Steve Dilley and his team right now on another project uh, called. Let me get the name right. It sort of changed. It's a series of statewide virtual pop-up community arts cafes, and these were originally going to be real, in-person events featuring veterans who have taken up the arts either as a full-time career or just a part-time pastime. And we're fortunate that we're near Beale Air Force Base, and we've got a tremendous core group of professional artists that put their time in the armed forces, and of course the incredible stories that come along with that, all of the therapeutic and health and wellness aspects of art. And you talk to some of these folks that are dealing with, still dealing with PTSD and how that's processed and manifested through their art. So we've just completed the video of each of those. We have 6 artists that we're presenting. So our will be the second after Oceanside for the virtual pop-up community arts cafe. And Vet Art facilitated this, but the funding, let me get the name right. The funding's actually coming from California's Mental Health Services Oversight and Accountability Commission. The state is clearly very serious about funding arts programming for veterans as
Yeah.
part of that therapeutic process. So ours will be uh, live on March 6th, Saturday, March 6th from 2 to 5 p.m. And so now we're just marketing the program. We've got the videos, and there'll be other veterans participating from Steve's team in Southern California as well, including a Native American bead artist and another musician. So it'll be an interesting cast of veterans sharing their artwork in this forum, and it's a neat system. It's not just like us sitting around talking on a Zoom call, which I know we all do all the time, but it's you actually can select what room to go into to access a particular veteran's story. We've got Aaron Burks, who's a Navy and Army veteran who came out, got a degree in art, very accomplished portrait painter. And a project for him, separate project that we're currently funding it's called Sleeping Giants, uh, Pearl Harbor survivors then and now, where we've been able to have Aaron visit. Up right now, he's got 20 subjects where he's met Pearl Harbor survivors. Some of them have already passed, but he has source material now where he can do an oil painting of them during their time in service around the time of Pearl Harbor, and of course as they appear now, well into their 90s. It's a beautiful project, and we're
Wow.
hoping we can get the go ahead to tour him around the country a little bit more. Of course, we're losing Pearl Harbor survivors probably every day. There's still a few out
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
So another
Yeah.
veterans in the arts project that we're very proud of. So
Don't you have had for quite a while a program where you have a art walk there for a
Hmm.
while?
yes, yeah, we've done something called Art Crawl, and
Yeah.
you go to some communities, larger communities, and there seems to be a whole course like the old days. And well, I guess do they still do Second Saturday? We used to do Second Saturday, and
Yeah.
there's a concentration of galleries you can go to. We don't have that. We've got a couple of areas in our community that are pretty neat, but you can't really put together a gallery tour without traveling a pretty far distance. So we created something called Art Crawl, where we pre-positioned artists in other businesses, restaurants, coffee shops, and then actually met all of our guests. They would sign up in advance, usually groups of 20 to 25, and then we'd go and spend a half an hour at each of these businesses, where you'd meet the artist. There'd be some refreshments, beverages, and then get to see some of the art the artists have created. And so that became kind of our pop-up art crawl experience. So yeah, we've done that several times, in both in Yuba City and Marysville, which are our 2 largest communities in our 2 county area.
Hmm. And it looks like
Nice.
you have another program that you do in cooperation with food, sort of a harvest
Oh
festival or
gosh,
something.
yes, of course. Our big, how soon we forget. It's only been a year since we've been able to do it. Yeah, we have a number of different revenue streams. We're very fortunate and aggressive that way. As far as fundraisers go, that piece of our annual budget, our biggest fundraiser is something called Harvest the Arts. We've been doing this now for last year would have been, I think, our ninth year. But this is really, we're in obviously a very agriculture focused area. I live out in the midst of, almond orchards and
Hmm.
rice fields, and uh, and so this idea came up years ago when I was on the board, and it's really bringing together. And we do this at a historic farm in Live Oak, J. Heyer Farms, and the owner, John Heyer, is a very arts-minded guy. When he says when he retires from the ag industry, he's going to go be a painter on the beach in Carmel, and he's really quite accomplished. So he's really passionate about the arts. Basically, we bring out representatives from the ag community. We do a lot of food sampling. We bring in restaurants who have bite-sized uh, morsels from their menus. We have a full bar. We have wineries from our community, which are growing. We've got 3 in Sutter County alone, and another, at least 7 or 8 in Yuba County. So we've got the wineries. We used to have a brewery. They may be back this year if we can do it. But then we bring in about 35 artists. We're limited to a little bit, but to a limited degree because of the space. In this beautiful setting, trees overhead, the buttes right at the back of the property. So
Right.
it's a magnificent Harvest the Arts event, and it's very successful. The ag community comes out and really supports it, and you get to see a lot of great artists. Some of whom are actually working on site, so it's always kind of fun to see an artist doing what they do. So,
Right. Yes.
and of course, live music. I'm sorry, I forgot that we usually have 3 different acts. Um, just running the gamut. We've had cellists playing the Bach cello suites. We've had rock groups and folk groups, brass ensembles from as far away as Oakland. It's kind of a hot ticket. It's the biggest thing we do. Usually 7 to 800 people attend. So it's a
Wow.
it's a
That's
it's a
nice.
big
Yeah.
event for us. We love it. So yeah, thanks for asking. That's Harvest the Arts. Hopefully this October.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
great.
Well, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good one.
David, how long have you been the executive director?
They hired me about, gosh, what's it been? About 5 years ago. It's one of those
Okay.
deals where I only came to town about 12 years ago, and I drove by this place in Marysville one day. It said Center for the Arts,
Okay.
Uh-huh.
had
Good.
me at the arts. So
Yeah.
I'm basically a businessman, but I've always had a passion for the arts and loved it.
Hmm.
Both of my children are artists, and so I popped in one day and found out more about the organization. Next thing you know, I'm volunteering for to be an usher at the. We used to have an opera company in town, believe it or not.
Hmm.
And so I'm volunteering at the opera, and then next thing you know, I'm on the board of directors. Then I'm president of the board, and then
Wow.
during a transition with our former executive director, they said, "Well, how about you?" So I said, "Okay," and I was available, and it's been about 5 years. Greatest job I've ever had.
Well, it looks like you're doing a really good job
Yes,
because
very impressive.
website, the programs you've got going are very impressive.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's a great pleasure, and when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. So
There you
That's
go.
right. That's right. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the organization or yourself?
Well, this is our 40th anniversary, so we're pretty
Ah,
Okay.
excited about that. Hope
Yep.
to every we are for planning purposes. We sort of anticipate being, we in the fall we start to put together our calendar for the following year. We sort of plan to be virtual through probably July. We've got a full slate of events between now and then.
okay.
All right.
40th,
Um,
it's your 40th year.
it's our 40th year, and hopefully after July, we'll see where we are. If we're in the red
Hmm.
zone or orange zone or whenever we're allowed to open,
That's
I'll
right.
mention our facilities here in just a moment. But then we can get back to doing actual in-person events and programming. But I should say, and I encourage anyone involved in the arts or arts organizations to um, and anyone who's done virtual programming during this last year knows, I think, what we've learned, which is there's something to be said for virtual arts programming.
Hmm.
I personally, want to see a theater event live in a theater and music events and other things. And and going to an art gallery to see the art. There's nothing to replace that. But some of the things we've done, I think we will continue. Because we're doing a bi-weekly artist interview program called Artist Alchemy. I may be calling on you
Perfect.
all in the next few weeks. I'd love to, hear more about Blue Cat, right? That's the name of your
Yeah, that's
organization.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But things like that, where, that's a pretty unique experience. And it came about because of the pandemic. So we'll keep those kinds of things going and then intermixed with our real live actual events. Um, so we're excited about that. It is our 40th year. We are the local affiliate for the California Arts Council,
Right.
um, and in addition to that, this it's not secret because it's our meetings are public, but we're also about to acquire a theater in Yuba City. So
Wow.
in
Oh,
addition,
fun.
we're blessed to own our own movie. We also have a movie theater in the theater,
Yeah.
but we have our own 120 seat theater, a courtyard, and then an adjoining office building and art gallery in downtown Marysville that our
Nice.
board acquired back in the mid 90s. So now to add to
Oh.
that, we've also got a leased artist studio complex in Yuba City where we have 5 resident artists working, called Kalakara Art Studios.
Hmm.
And then we're going to, and that we lease, but then we're about to acquire, as in own, the Sutter Theater, which is on Plymouth Street in downtown Yuba City, which is the, kind of the coolest, hippest place to go and hang out on a weekend night because there's restaurants and the theater is right in the heart of that. So it'll really, I think, add to the kind of the cultural landscape. So the theater's been remodeled over the last 12 years by a dedicated group of folks. And they said, okay, now what? Someone's got to manage this thing. How about Yuba-Sutter Arts and Culture? So we're pretty well established as a group that kind of knows how to get things done and how to program. So, but it's a 300 seat black box
Hmm.
right at the front with a beautiful concession stand, keeping the old architectural elements of the original Sutter movie theater that so many people here remembered and went to as young people. And so it's
That's
got that
nice.
legacy. And I think once we get open with some live acts and our minds are just going wild with
Uh-huh.
what we can do with this 300 seat modular space. That's kind of
Well,
big news for
It
our
sounds fantastic. It sounds like you are part of a group of people, a core group who have a vision and know how to get things done. It sounds great.
I know, watch what you wish for, right?
Right.
Oh, wait, I've got a board meeting tonight. Now I've got to answer for all this.
Oh dear.
oh boy, there you go. Okay, well, great. It's been great talking to you, David, and
Very enlightening.
we
Yeah.
wish Yuba Sutter, the luck coming up and open up quickly so we can come down
I,
and see that theater.
we can't
Yeah.
wait.
That'd be
All right,
great.
and I'll be reaching out to you all soon, but I really appreciate this opportunity.
Great. Thank you
Great.
very much.
Thank you so
Thanks a
much.
million. Okay,
Okay.
see you
Bye
Bye
later.
bye.
bye.
Bye.